Hey darlings. Dasha was sitting in her car, looking at the water flowing down the windshield. And just minutes ago, it was just a light rain. Minutes ago, everything was different. How fast changes occur in life. Dasha couldn't believe what she just saw and heard. She was hurt. Hundreds of questions were spinning in her head. How to live on? What to do? How could they? The year-old son was sitting in the back seat. Dasha allowed Matvey to play his favorite game on her smartphone. Let the child distract himself while she gathers her thoughts and strength. The woman tried to act so as not to hurt her son. But of course, he understood a lot. At least, what will never be like before. It's hard and scary for him too. It's time to get yourself together, at least for his sake. The rain has intensified. Dasha didn't like to go in such weather. And here is her stressful state. It's not safe. We need to sit a little longer. Wait. The woman suddenly remembered that in such situations it is advised to take a deep breath. She tried. Indeed, a little clear in her head. Thoughts flowed in the right direction. Now they will go to her private apartment with their son. Dasha bought it in the mortgage before the wedding with Andrei. Parents helped quickly close the loan. Although the apartment is located in a not very prestigious area and the renovation is required. Now the woman was happy about this, but she has somewhere to go. After what she just saw, there is no way to stay with Andrei. But the day started so well. Dasha and Matveyev woke up in a hotel in Ekaterinburg. The woman thought it was great that she didn't have to get up and hurry to cook breakfast. It's enough to just go down to the canteen on the first floor. You can lie down in a warm, soft bed. She brought her son to the tournament. The boy has been playing hockey for 4 years, making success. And recently his team began to participate in the competition. This time, Andrei was supposed to go with Matvey, but the plans changed. The boss sent his husband on an urgent business trip, which coincided with the tournament. Dasha was upset, because for her it was a real problem to go to the boss, prepare for business, give a bunch of instructions to colleagues who would replace her. But in the end, everything turned out to be for the best. The trip became a rest, which she lacked. The woman was happy to be in the game, talking to the coach and other parents. It was fun. The most important thing was that Dasha was able to spend enough time with her son. They were always together. The woman was happy to be on fresh, crispy sheets. There are 2 games left, today and tomorrow. And you can come back. Dasha was proud of Matvey. It turned out that he is a very good player. One of those who was in charge of the team. It was a very pleasant discovery, which comforted her parental self-esteem. She threw videos and photos of her husband, which she received some 2 manly comments. It seemed that he was now not up to the success of his son. Well, nothing. Everyone is going home, and then how to discuss this tournament. With emotions and proper attention. The coach told me that the tournament would end early in the morning. The team they were supposed to face in the final tomorrow came back home, took part in the competition for some reason. Dasha didn't even go into details. Today is the final game, and you can go home for lunch. The woman was looking forward to what pleasure she would soon enter her favorite apartment. She will drop off her road clothes, but she will take a warm bath. And then they will order pizza with Matvey and will watch some movie together. Unfortunately, Andrei will only return tomorrow. A surprise was waiting for her near the house. A car parked near the entrance of her husband's car. Strange, but very cool. What a coincidence. His business trip was also shorter than planned. They have whole, calm days to be together and discuss all the news. Dasha tried several times on the way to call her husband to tell him that the tournament was over early. But his phone was always off. Probably he was discharged. So now they will surprise Andrei. Dasha opened the door with her key and immediately felt the presence of a stranger in her cozy apartment. This woman caught the smell of the exquisite perfume. A moment later, the unobtrusively thrown half-sleeved shoes on a high heels were thrown into the eyes. Right in the middle of the hallway. The bag was lying there. The lady was in a hurry. Something was not letting her carefully lay out her things. And the sounds. From the depths of the apartment came the music that was silenced and some kind of noise, interrupted by a cockatoo female laughter. Dasha's legs were bent. Probably she got pale because her son scaredly asked what was wrong with her. For the sake of Matvey, Dasha tried to calm down. Without saying goodbye, she walked into the living room with the boy, put him on the couch, turned on the cartoons, asked to sit quietly and not be afraid of anything. She closed the door. Now, apparently, an ugly scene is going to take place here. I would not like the child to become a witness to it. Dasha remained in the dark hallway. There were no windows here. She did not turn on the light. From the bedroom, a cheerful female laugh and a quiet voice to Andre. He's with another woman. Right now. Right in their apartment. Of course, there was no trip. The trip to the tournament seemed like a great excuse to send the family from home and to have fun here with the lover. How could he think of such a thing? Madaj's head was spinning again. She understood that she had to open the bedroom door, knock a couple of times on the crime scene, and start a scandal. But the woman didn't dare. When she sees everything with her own eyes, there will be no turning back. She will have to believe. Now you can still try to come up with at least some excuse for a strange situation. For example, that a woman's voice is being broadcast on TV, and these women's clothes are a gift to her husband. No. Of course, it's nonsense. It's silly to cling to a thin straw. You need to look at the truth. Dasha knew that from now on her life would not be the same. This applies not only to everyday life. Of course, to live with a traitor and to be in the apartment where he brought his mistress, a woman will definitely not be able to. But first of all, changes will happen in her. Already happening. Probably she will never be able to trust anyone again. After all, Andre seemed so reliable, so reasonable, so loving to her. Of course, it happened that from time to time, someone from Dasha's acquaintances found out about the husband's infidelity. But she was sure that this would never happen in their family. And here it is. It turns out that in this life, everything is possible. We must finally go there. Or is it better to just turn around and quietly run away, grabbing the son? No. Dasha understood that she had to see everything with her own eyes, so that later she wouldn't even think about returning to the traitor. The woman decided. She came to the door and quickly opened it. Of course, she already understood what was happening in the bedroom, but still she was not ready for what she saw. In the first moment, Dasha lost her voice. Her eyes darkened, and she even shuddered. What a turn of events. There was Andre and it Rose Steta. Sveta, with whom Dasha was friends with the older classes. A couple of things made Dasha's sudden appearance. Both were confused. They didn't hear her coming, as they were busy with each other. Besides, the TV was working in a silent mode. The events of some Hollywood movie were unfolding on the screen. Near the bedside table there was a plate with ordered rolls and almost an empty bottle of wine. Andre was flustered like a captured beast, jumped off the bed, pulled his jeans, and at the same time threw a bottle from the table. The one with a deft knock hit the floor. A dark red spot began to spread across the park. The light looked more collected. In her eyes, Dasha noticed cheerful sparks. Or did she just think so? How can you have fun in such a situation? How could you? Only she could squeeze Dasha out of her. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It happened accidentally, Andre said, without daring to approach his wife. He looked very guilty and frightened now. There was no trace of his usual confidence in himself. She? Why she? Dasha finally turned her gaze to her friend, who was covered in a blanket. She clearly did not feel any awkwardness. She looked at the shaggy Dasha straight and bold. Even boldly. It felt like this scene didn't bother her at all. I was wrong. I'm sorry, Andre continued. It all happened by accident. Yes, I'm a scumbag, but I'm sorry. Give me a chance. By accident? Sveta smiled. So, my friend, we've been sleeping like this for 2 years by accident. Shut up, fool. Andre tried to stop her, but his lover was already carried away. Yes, 2 years. She continued, comfortably sitting on her pillows. I come to work at lunchtime. I accompany him on his business trips. Sometimes there are no business trips. It's just a cover. Last time we spent a wonderful week in Moscow under this brand. Dasha didn't want to believe what she heard, but she understood that every word of a friend is pure truth. It was felt both by her confident tone and by Andrei's reaction, who was getting more and more slender and slender. We love each other, Sveta said. So it's good that it happened. Dasha, I only love you, Andrei protested. From those words that used to always be in the heart of Dasha's warmth, she is now sick of it. Literally. The badness came to her throat. Just 5 minutes ago you sang differently, Sveta recalled. Shut up already. Get out of here, Andrei ordered. But the lover didn't pay him any attention. It seemed she was enjoying the situation. He said that life with you is gray and dull, and with me it's really fun. How did you say there? With me you feel alive and young. Andre was silent. Apparently, he had nothing to say to this. He really said such words. Dasha wanted to scream, to cause a scandal, maybe even get into the hair of the world and give Andre a slap in the face, give at least some kind of way out that overfilled her emotions. After that, there is probably not much on the soul, but it would be easier. But in the next room was her child. He has no extra stress. Matvey will have to do it and not Sweet. So many changes at once. Therefore, Dasha silently opened the closet, pulled out a big bag from there, and began to throw her things. She had 2 luggage bags in her car. At first, they had everything they needed with Matvey. All they needed was a few suits for the office. She'll take the rest later, when she calms down a bit. Now, I'd rather run away from here. Anywhere, as long as it's far away. What are you doing? Andre jumped up to her and grabbed her hand, without letting her pack her bag. Are you leaving? Of course. I can't stay here any longer. Then I'll call you and we'll discuss the details. Dasha was amazed at how calmly and evenly her voice sounded, while a real storm was raging inside. No, please, let's calm down. Let's talk about everything. We have nothing to talk about. Dasha pulled out her hand and continued to pack her things. Don't touch me. I don't like it. You are our queen, Snow White. The light stretched. Too high opinion about yourself. How it pissed me off. And not only me. Dasha threw a despicable look at her now already ex-girlfriend. She was bossy in her bed without experiencing any slightest threats of conscience. Brave, daring, sharp for the tongue. Once it was these qualities that attracted the shy Dasha to the new classmate. The girls quickly became friends. It was always fun and interesting with Sveta. She always ended up in the center of events, constantly getting into some adventures. This friendship made Dasha's measured life brighter and fuller. And now the tendency of the world to adventurers and its imprincibility have turned into a real catastrophe for Dasha's family. Well, the bag is finally ready. I'm asking you about one thing now. The woman who turned into an indescribable light and a confused husband said, Don't get too close. I'm with Matvey. He doesn't need to see this. I want to see my son, Andre said. Not now, Dasha said, if you don't want to lose him forever. And now she's driving her car and trying to get herself together. She's being hit by a big rock. There in the apartment, the woman managed to save her face, but now despair, anger, resentment, and fear have caught up with her. On her backseat, Matvey is fighting monsters on her smartphone. The game has attracted the boy. That's good. Because, of course, he was surprised and upset when his mother told him that they would have to live in another place for now. The baby was anxious and immediately asked about his father. Oh, what an awkward conversation with his son. And this too. But not now. Now is clearly not the time. So, Dasha and Matvey moved to her apartment, and they got along quite well there. Although they had to sleep on one big inflatable mattress, but the boy even liked it. The woman on the next day was on the verge of marriage and the division of property. She realized that she would never be able to live in an apartment where Andrei met his lover, her best friend. At first, her husband was calling her. The phone literally got hot from them. Dasha was constantly pressing the reset button. Then he reduced the dust a little. But then he started to throw the wife messages. He repented in them, scolded himself with the last words, and prayed for forgiveness. But how to forgive such a thing? Sveta clearly voiced the duration of their relationship. 2 years. It's hard to call it a coincidence. And in general, how could he? Andrei knew that Sveta was her best friend. And how could she? How can you trust anyone after the betrayal of such close people? These thoughts constantly worried Dasha. They didn't let her sleep and work normally. The woman lost weight and lost weight. It closed for everyone. She constantly felt weak and broken. I had to tell about everything to my parents. Also because Dasha was forced to ask them for help with Matvey. She couldn't take care of the child herself. She had no strength at all. The thoughts of the pregnant woman took all the energy. Mother in this whole situation, she was also accused. I told you, there was nothing to carry around, and I never liked your light. You're a liar. You even advertised it to Andrei yourself. These words were called out in the heart with pain. But Mother told the truth. Dasha herself let this snake into her family. When Andrei and Dasha just started dating, the girl almost immediately met the chosen one with her friends. Then it seemed quite natural. Andrei also introduced her to close people. Sveta didn't like the guy at first. He shared his opinion after the first party. And it seems that you have a big influence. Don't get offended. Dasha was shocked. She heard about it from her mother, about her friend's character in the adventure warehouse and about her influence on herself. But the girl didn't pay attention to it. With the appearance of Sveta in her life, Dasha became more relaxed, free, and cheerful. All the bright events of her youth, the girl was obliged to be this little sluggish friend. Time went by. Dasha married Andrei and gave birth to a son. Many of her acquaintances also got married, and Sveta continued to live as before. Travels, parties, stormy short-term novels. Sometimes Dasha also broke out with her for the evening. To get distracted from the household, to have fun, to feel young and free again. No, the woman liked her new status as a wife and mother. She was happy to arrange her spacious apartment, to cook delicious dinners, to take care of the baby. But the rare outings with the light were the most breathtaking air that many moms in their decrees need. Almost always during such walks, they had fans. A light flirt helped Dasha to feel particularly attractive. But of course, she didn't allow herself anything extra. It's certainly nice to have male attention, but Dasha really loved Andrei. Don't you regret marrying so early? Asked Sveta once. They were then sitting in a bar, celebrating their friend's birthday. Was Dasha surprised too early? Of course. Look how many men are around. What a choice. And you've already decided and deprived yourself of a chance for something bigger. And very happy, Dasha honestly admitted. Oh, Sveta is so crooked. He's so boring. No, family and boring life like yours is definitely not for me yet. Dasha philosophically noticed everyone her own. She liked to have fun with her friend and her friends in the bar. But only the thought that her son and husband are waiting for her at home made her really happy. Andrei didn't like Sveta, and he often told his wife about it. And one day he forbade her to meet him. It happened after one of the meetings with his friends. Girls were held in the club almost until morning. Andrei called his wife and took the phone from Sveta's friend. Dasha wasn't there. She went to the toilet. And the guy decided that it was fun to tease his new friend's husband. He played the role of Dasha's lover under the happy laugh of others. That night, Andre rushed to the club and found his wife in the company of Sveta's friends. Of course, he quickly realized that everything turned out to be a stupid joke, but since then he asked his wife not to communicate with her friend and her dubious acquaintances. I don't like her views on life and the circle of communication. She has a bad influence on you. You are too different now. And you've always been, probably. But now it is especially noticeable, so I ask you not to talk to her anymore. If you need a break, just tell me and we'll come up with something else. Dasha realized that her husband was right. She put herself in his place then. It would be nice if Andre and his friends would have a rest in bars and clubs. Let it not be often. Gradually, communication with Sveta went down the drain. Dasha began to refuse to meet. At first, friends called each other, texted each other on social networks. But soon it stopped. Gradually, the common topic for conversations disappeared. The paths parted. Did Dasha miss her friends? Definitely yes. The woman had other acquaintances, colleagues, neighbors, parents, friends, son. But I have never been as happy with any of them as with Sveta. The woman realized that she lacked a bright friend who turned every meeting into a real adventure. Sveta didn't remember her 2 years. Dasha followed her life on social media, liked her photos, and read her stories. She was in the center of events as usual. She traveled to different countries, changed jobs and loved ones, was interested in everything that was possible, from yoga to deltaplanism. Everything as usual. Dasha's life was steady and calm. She worked, raised a son, enjoyed quiet family happiness. And this situation was quite satisfying for her. But one evening, a call was made. The number of Sveta was displayed on the screen. Dasha was surprised. They haven't talked for a long time, and then suddenly this? Hello. The friend cried out in the phone. Something like this happened to me. I need someone's support. What happened? Dasha was scared. It turned out that Sveta met love in her whole life half a year ago. The young boy is almost 7 years younger than her. According to the friends, they had almost perfect relationships. But there was a disaster. Recently, he got into an accident on his bike, as a result of which he died. And now Sveta is overcome by terrible thoughts, and she needs support. The husband had to lie that he was going to his mother, because Andre was categorically against the friendship of his wife with Sveta. The friends talked for several hours. Dasha patiently listened to Sveta. During these 2 years, she began to look older. First wrinkles and overweight appeared. She was even more sorry for the woman. From this moment on, the friends began to communicate again. The truth is now in secret from Andre. And once a strange thing happened. Dasha went to work and forgot her phone at home. When she returned, she found that at lunchtime she was called by Sveta and they talked to her for almost an hour. How is that possible? It turned out that the friend really called her, but Andre took the phone, and somehow they found common language, reconciled. She is really an interesting interlocutor, the husband admitted then. I finally realized that you are attracted to her. And what, my lord, now you are not against our communication. Dasha was curious. Even for. She is really funny. And you become happier and happier with her. So Sveta entered their family. She became a guest of all the holidays, the birthday, the New Year, March. They took her with them to the shish kebab, which was traditionally arranged by Andre's friends. Sveta got closer to Matvey. Dasha was happy. Finally, a cheerful friend was rehabilitated in the eyes of her husband. Finally, he realized what a smart and kind person she was. And yes, the mother is right. Dasha herself has often described to Andre the merits of her girlfriend. Indeed, as if she was advertising, but she didn't know what it would lead to. Although, probably, she was supposed to assume. Sveta envied Dasha from the very beginning. First of all, her appearance. Tall and slim, despite her love for buns from school meals. Genes are such, apparently. Sveta, from a young age, fought with excess weight, and limited herself in everything. However, given the extremely modest income of their family, it was not so difficult to do it. In addition, Dasha was one of the best students in the class, and she was given a very easy education. She was able to grasp everything on the fly, while for Sveta, most of the formulas and definitions remained Chinese. And also, Dasha had a wonderful family. Dad is the head of the dairy farm, mom is a doctor, and my younger brother is a specialist. They lived in luxury. They didn't refuse their daughters in beautiful clothes. They went on vacation every summer, after which Dasha went to school with a gorgeous bronze tan. They drove a beautiful car, talked to each other politely and respectfully. And the apartment, what a luxurious apartment they had. Spacious, clean, with new modern furniture. Dasha didn't even notice it. She perceived it as her duty. And Sveta was jealous, because only her mother brought her up. She didn't know her father, just like her two younger brothers and sisters. She never had enough money. All her life, as much as Sveta remembered herself, she wanted to get out of this poverty. And the girl tried. She watched her appearance. She understood that she had more chances to like a wealthy man. Sometimes the girl didn't see the way out for herself. She had a hard time studying, so there was no way to become a talented doctor or a cool economist. Sveta really valued her abilities, but she was fun. Everyone noted this, despite all the difficulties, and perhaps thanks to them. Humor helped her cope with many problems. Besides, life taught her to understand people well, to find her own approach to everyone, even to manipulate. These skills were no less important than algebra and physics, and the girl in her youth understood this perfectly. In senior year, Sveta became friends with the beautiful Taihan and Dash, and also with the great-granddaughter. If only she had these data, she would immediately become a school queen. But Dash was constantly shy and afraid of something. Sveta could not understand this behavior. Dasha liked her. Smart, calm, benevolent, always ready to help. And what admiration were her eyes burning when Sveta showed her what it means to have fun. For her, Sveta was not a girl from a poor family, but a teacher of life. And yet Sveta did not leave the feeling of injustice. Why is one everything, and the other is nothing? And Sveta envied Dasha. She often got angry at her, and was happy with her small failures, for example, the 4 for the control. She did not give any other reasons. And then the contrast between them became much more noticeable. Dasha entered a prestigious economic university, and Sveta went to the Faculty of Information and Library Affairs. There was just the lowest passing score and a small competition. Sveta needed at least some higher education. Of course, she wasn't going to work on purpose. She understood that the library didn't get much. No, she didn't dream about Sveta's life. She deserves more. As a student, Sveta worked as a salesperson in a toy shop. The work wasn't particularly hard, and the salary wasn't bad. Finally, the girls had money to leave their mother. Now she lived in a rented apartment. For some time it seemed that her dreams began to come true. No maternity education and raise the younger ones. And also free money and a lot of time. I don't want to walk. In fact, Sveta had been doing this for a long time. She graduated from the university, and her diploma was in her pocket. But the girl continued to work as a salesperson at the former owner. Now he transferred her to a profit percentage, so the salary increased. In the season, he also got good money. However, she also added responsibilities. Now the whole accounting and kiosk were in the world. But the girl did it. Even pride felt for herself. Well, anyway, she's too right, too boring. But still, Sveta pulled herself together with her friend. The girl couldn't understand what was going on. There weren't many common interests, and if we're honest with ourselves, Sveta felt like she was next to Dasha, a second-rate girl. It was a very unpleasant feeling, and yet she would call her former classmate and offer her a meeting. She agreed with pleasure. And then Dasha had Andre. At first, she only heard about him from her friend's mouth. According to her stories, it turned out that he was some kind of fairy prince, beautiful, wealthy, and cheerful. The girl assumed that Dasha was exaggerating. Who would know about this effect? Some of Sveda's fans at first thought that the girl was a perfect man, but after a couple of weeks, or even earlier, she became confused. How did she manage to pay attention to this poverty? Something sometimes blinds the eyes. But then it was Dasha's birthday. They celebrated with a big, noisy company. And there Sveta saw Andre for the first time and realized that she had disappeared. A sporty figure, dark hair. The white t-shirt emphasized the thick tan. Strong muscles were guessing under it. Andre obviously visited the gym. Otherwise, how to explain such a luxurious relief? About an hour and a half after the first meeting, Sveta realized that she could not take her eyes off this beautiful, confident guy. The girl caught every move of his. She even for a while was quiet, didn't shine as usual with her astral vision, didn't try to be in the center of attention. It was not like her at all. They say the truth. You never know where you will meet your love. It's unpredictable. Sveta realized that she truly fell in love with Andre. And from the first glance, it was from such a handsome, wealthy, smart, well-groomed man that she dreamed of a school bench. But again, her desire was not her, but Dasha's. It's so unfair. The bitter feeling of resentment swept over Sveta. She, with a mixture of jealousy and anger, watched as Andre carefully hugged Dasha for a thin waist. It cannot be denied that they just look gorgeous together. And how annoying it is. Sveta suddenly really wanted to break their idol. The decision was equally contributed by the long-lost envy for Dasha and the bottle of wine. In general, Sveta decided to act. She looked just as she should. A t-shirt with a deep cut, short shorts, successful makeup. All the advantages of appearance are highly emphasized and shown on display. The girl noticed the interested looks of the male part of the company, but she only needed Andre, who looked at her only with anger. Well, the more complicated, the more interesting. Sveta waited a long time for the moment to be alone with Andre, and then luck finally smiled on her. Dasha and the girls watched some videos on the internet, the guys went out, and Andre went to the balcony for some reason. Sveta slipped along. The guy stood and just looked at the panorama of the city at night. Sveta stood next to him. She said, it was beautiful. She could have been an artist. She could have painted and hung it above her bed. It would have been stylish. Andre was quite pleased. It seems you have a good taste. Thank you. The girl smiled charmingly. She stood up unnoticed, even closer to the guy. Compliment is a good sign. And now you need to be silent. Let him take the initiative himself. But he did not hurry to disrupt the silence. She simply couldn't hold back. The girl hugged Andre tightly and tried to kiss him. But she didn't get the desired response from Sveta. On the contrary, Andre pushed her away. What are you doing? The guy looked confused and angry. Dasha said, you are the best friends. Dasha answered Sveta for being a nudie. And with me it's fun. You won't miss me, will you? Let's go with me. You won't regret it. Go wash yourself with cold water and don't drink anymore. Andre threw Andre and went to the others. And Sveta stayed on the balcony alone with her bitter grudge. She felt stupid and humiliated and, again, secondary, as often happened when Dasha was nearby. Sveta then left without saying goodbye. Apparently, Andre did not tell Dasha about what happened between them on the balcony. And then there was a wedding. Luxurious, with a limousine, a chic banquet hall, a bunch of guests. Of course, Dasha invited Sveta. She looked at her happy girlfriend with envy, in a snow-white dress, and she looked just like a queen. And Andre, in an elegant suit, completely matched her. Oh, why is Dasha always so lucky? A line of random contacts and parties, fans, friends, clubs. It's all fun, of course. Sveta did her best to pretend that this was the right situation for her. But in reality, she would rather be in Dasha's place. Andrei should look at her with his eyes in love. He should hug her so tenderly and carefully. Andrei behaved as if there was no scene on the balcony between them. He just didn't notice Sveta. He walked past the empty place. Since then, meetings with Dasha have become even rarer. Moreover, just a year later, the friend became a mother. They had a wonderful son Matvey with Andrei. Strong, cute, clever, just some perfect child. Sometimes Sveta managed to get Dasha to the club or to a party. It seems that the newly married mother was happy with such freedom. But Sveta saw that all her thoughts were still with her husband and child. And then this stupid incident happened. It happened in the nightclub. Dasha then left her phone and went to the toilet. At this time, Andrei called her. And the next fan of Sveta decided that it was very fun to pretend to be a lover of Dasha to her husband. Andrei rushed to the club half an hour later. Sveta once again made sure how dear his wife was to him. Of course, everything quickly became clear, but since then Andrei forbade his wife to communicate with her. With Sveta, well, he had all the reasons to consider her a woman and a worthy friend with his precious Dasha. Even Sveta's behavior then on the balcony was quite enough. No, maybe without Dasha her life will be easier. Maybe these heavy feelings will disappear. Envy, a sharp feeling of injustice, anxiety. At first, everything was like that. Sveta had a lot of fun, enjoyed her youth, freedom, relationships, worked, traveled, tried new hobbies. And one day fate brought her together with her family, just like she is a cheerful guy who values lightness and can rest. His name was Mark. He was 7 years younger than Sveta, but neither her nor his was embarrassed. They had similar fates. The guy grew up in a not very prosperous family and dreamed of getting out of poverty when he grew up. And so Mark grew up, found a job, began to live separately and met his love.
No, not Sveta.
Sveta appeared in his life later. At first, the guy fell in love with a bike. Then he and Sveta were able to bring interest to this kind of transport. When they were walking through the city's night streets, Sveta seemed as if she were flying like a bird. It was a wonderful, indescribable feeling of freedom. She was fine with Mark. They understood each other without words. But then this terrible tragedy happened. Sveta was called from the scene of the accident. A cold voice in the phone said that it was the last one to talk to her, the biker who had just crashed to death. He had to establish his identity, and Sveta was waiting for help. So Sveta was left alone again. Despair, fear, emptiness, feeling of unfulfilled loss. All this literally crushed the girl like a concrete slab. Sveta almost believed that she had finally become happy, but, unlike Dasha, she didn't deserve happiness. Dasha, on the one hand, Sveta was angry at her. It was an irrational feeling, because the friend is not to blame for what happened to Mark, and it can't be to blame. On the other hand, Sveta now envied Dasha in black. She wanted some kind of shock to happen in her well-being. Without thinking about what to say, Sveta dialed her friend's number, and hearing Dasha's voice, she suddenly burst into tears and asked for support. Yes, that's exactly what she needed right now. Dasha was running around for an hour, calming herself, hugging, stroking her head, listening carefully, sincerely sympathizing. From that evening on, they started talking again, in secret from Andrei, who still didn't like their friendship. But then an unexpected event happened. One day Sveta called Dasha, and Andrei picked up the phone. "Are you talking to me again?" The man asked. "Yes," Sveta answered. "We both need this communication. It gives us a lot. About that case on the balcony, I want to ask for forgiveness for all these years." "Yes, the situation was not beautiful, to put it mildly," Andrei agreed. "I just didn't know then how everything between you is serious. And I really liked you. That's it. It's awkward still in general. Thank you for not telling Dasha about this case. Well, it's been a long time, Andre said. What happened, happened. They talked for almost an hour. It turned out that there was a lot in common between them. They loved the same films, listened to the same music. Andre admitted that Sveta is an incredibly interesting and clever interlocutor. Many girls talked about it, but the compliment from Andre's mouth turned out to be especially pleasant. When Sveta put the phone down, she realized that she was fully rehabilitated in the eyes of Dasha's husband. He even began to feel something like sympathy for her. It was unexpected and very cool. Since then, Sveta has become a friend of their family and forever the theme of all the festive feasts. Dasha was sincerely happy with such a turn of events. Sveta too, but seeing so close to happiness of her friend was not easy, especially when after their cozy, stylish apartments, she had to return to her empty house. Andre seemed to Sveta more and more attractive. So beautiful, so smart, so caring. And her father was just wonderful. And everywhere he was successful, both in the family and in his career. Just a man of dreams. Sveta noticed that he was no longer indifferent to her. Not like before. Sometimes a woman caught his interested look on her. It made her very happy and reassured. Perhaps now she will finally be able to do what she couldn't do then, with the first meeting. Probably not everything is lost yet. Sveta realized that over the years of marriage, the feelings of spouses have become somewhat dull. Household disputes, small arguments, problems. Romanticism disappears. Sveta knew that she herself had broken up many times because of the change of her emotions in the gray week. She liked holidays, euphoria, passion, adventure, even finding out relationships, just so that it wouldn't suck up the swamp of boredom and calmness. That's what she could understand Andre. And that's exactly what you need to play to achieve your goal. Sveta became a holiday for her husband and girlfriend, a mystery, an adventure. She was interested in Andre's life stories and had fun with his clever jokes. His attention became more and more close. Sveta didn't repeat her past mistakes. She didn't take the first step. She was waiting for Andre's initiative. And one day it happened. That evening they accidentally met in a bar. Sveta was having a rest there with her friends, and Andre went in with her colleagues. The woman immediately understood. She knew that Dasha and her son and parents had gone to the sea to have a rest. She is not in town, and her friend will be back soon. Not far away, an hour ago, Dasha sent her a couple of photos from the beach, and Andre couldn't go with his family. The man was happy to meet her. They talked a lot that evening, even danced. And then Andre called to take Sveta home. And already in the taxi it became clear that he was very serious. The light was. Let her admire how beautiful she is in the morning. Any man who has been married for so many years should sometimes relax. I wouldn't be able to live with the same person and not even have the right to look at others, Sveta continued to sing. Gray mornings are such a longing. The woman saw that every word of hers reached its goal. From the conversations with Dasha and Sveta, she knew that both spouses have been really eating up their lives lately. The friend complained about the lack of romance and indifference to Andre. She missed her old relationship. Surely her husband too. Perhaps this is just one of the notorious crises of marriage. But also great. So they met in the bar at the right time. Do you really think so? Andre looked at her interested. Of course, I don't mind meeting with you sometimes. Well, only that Dasha certainly didn't know anything. I was very good. I'm not against repetition. I didn't have to wait long for repetition. That day Andre stayed. And in the evening they already walked around the city at night, loudly laughing like two teenagers. Sveta felt a serious man, burdened with responsibility, business, and a bunch of household chores. This is exactly what you need. The ease of adventure, freedom, and fun. Well, she was just the kind of person who could give him all this. They became lovers. Andre came to her on weekends, or she herself went to his office when she had time. Sometimes the man, covering himself in front of home business, carried the light somewhere where it was possible not to hide. And these were wonderful moments. Their meetings often reminded the quest. The need to think through the date made the brain work hard and feel like a hero of some film. All this was like a game, an exciting, interesting one that will never get boring. But at one beautiful moment, Sveta realized that she was not enough. Yes, the man she had dreamed of for so long is now with her. She often comes to hug him, listens to Andrei's compliments, gazing at him with gray eyes from a very close distance, gladly accepting gifts from the beloved person. And yet he belongs to another one, the one that is always ahead. Dasha, the friend, still believes that she has an ideal family, doesn't even suspect anything. But Sveta wanted Dasha to suffer, so that the mask of well-being and confidence flew off her beautiful, slightly overbearing face. So that the friend finally understands that not everything in her life is perfect, not everything goes the way she wants it to. So that she realizes that her husband next to her is not so happy that she does not look for entertainment on the side. Did she love Andrei? Rather yes than no. Such a friendship in the whole body as with the first meeting, of course, he did not call. But the woman liked to be with him. Andrei knew how to have fun, didn't buy gifts, cared for himself. He always had something to talk about. The man, like her, loved adventures. Sveta appreciated all this. She wouldn't, unlike Dasha, burden her beloved everyday person. Sveta knows how to make life bright and fun. Sveta even started to think about a plan. She wanted to build up a situation so that Dasha could guess everything. The difficulty was that the scene should look as natural as possible. Nothing came to mind. And then there was such a good case. Sveta could not believe her happiness. Probably she dreamed so much about it that her desire materialized. Dasha not only learned about their connections, she knocked them over. The situation turned out to be almost anecdotal. When the friend with a pale face and wide-open eyes flew into the bedroom, Sveta first got lost. Andrei didn't even fall off the bed. If Sveta had been there, she would have thrown herself at her husband's mistress and pulled all her hair out, and she would have given a kiss to her unfaithful husband. But the frozen friend started to pack her things silently. It turns out that she was holding back for the sake of her son. The boy was also in the apartment, and the mother did not want to scare the child. It's a pity. I wish I had more expression. But still, Sveta felt her triumph. She saw that Dasha was only calm on the outside, but she was in pain deep inside. Very painful. But still, it turns out that she is not so perfect, not so good, since her husband is looking for entertainment on the side. Sveta enjoyed Dasha's confusion. Finally, she managed to win. Sweet moment. And here is the behavior of Andrei disappointed. The one who was looking for a husband, who had collected things, tried to stop her, called the relationship with the lover a mistake. But Sveta immediately made it clear. Told Dasha that their relationship has been 2 years. Let them not think that it is a coincidence. The news was as she understood. The news hurt her a lot. That's great. When Dasha left, Andrei wanted to follow her. Sveta stopped him. She started to calm down. She persuaded her to wait. Let Dasha come to her senses first. She felt sorry and pain. She said that she felt very uncomfortable in front of them. That she felt sorry for Andrei and her friend. That she behaved wrong when Dasha appeared. But this was only due to confusion and fear. Dasha and her son went to live in their own house. Of course, the daughter of the wealthy parents, this princess, had a place to go to where she could proudly leave. Well, great. Perhaps out of a sense of offense, she will refuse to live in a common apartment when the marriage is over. And then Sveta will live in it. How she wanted to become a full-fledged housewife here. Andrei tried to return the wife. He lost all his charisma, became somewhat pathetic. Sveta did not recognize the man who once conquered her at first glance. Where is his confidence in himself? Where is his brutality? Where is the cheerful shine in the gray eyes? He even became different externally, slumped down, slumped down. Sveta hoped that it would not be long, and put in the maximum effort to return to the former Andrei. Dasha, of course, gave the documents. Sveta did not doubt this, but the property section will still be there. But it's okay. Andrei is making enough money. They will buy a new apartment, even better. Sveta will arrange everything there to her own taste. Andrei made an effort to keep them from getting divorced, but Dasha was not inclined. As a result, he soon became a free man. Broken, lost, desperate, but free. Of course, in such a difficult period for the beloved person, Sveta was close. She was slow, moving, returning to life. She was drawing tempting perspectives. She even cared about him, which was not her style. She was preparing delicious breakfasts and dinners for Andrei, and making him coffee. Then, after the scene with the exposure, Andrei kicked Sveta out of the apartment. But soon he called himself and apologized. He needed support, and the woman was ready to offer her. In her beautiful apartment, next to her now already ex-perfect husband, and Sveta was satisfied with everything. Dasha was not happy about anything. She went to work, ate, cleaned up, watched the news on TV in the evening. Everything was like a robot. Matvey temporarily lived with her parents. Now she had no strength for a son, neither moral nor physical, and a boy should not see his mother in such a state. The wine helped her relax a bit. A couple of glasses of wine before bed helped her get over her painful thoughts. Dasha's mother strongly recommended her to see a psychologist. She was scared of her daughter's condition. She even found a great specialist for her, but Dasha refused. She didn't want to tell anyone about her experiences, because then she would have to describe that scene in detail. And it hurts too much. The woman kept everything in herself and could not even cry anymore. Dasha did not know whose betrayal hurt her more. Her beloved husband, who seemed so reliable and caring. A close friend who turned every meeting into a field celebration. Both cheaters. Both traitors. Both scumbags. It turns out that they have been spinning behind her back for 2 years. I was able to look at her eyes so calmly during these years, as if nothing had happened. How disgusting it is in the soul. How hard it is. Dasha honestly tried to distract herself, did repairs, tried to draw. But nothing helped. Heavy thoughts that did not allow the soul to stretch earlier became her permanent companions. They pushed out all desires and feelings. They were oppressed. They were not allowed to live peacefully. The previous prosperous life has collapsed. The new one has not yet begun. Dasha felt as if she was standing on the path, and each of the paths leads to some gloomy, unhappy future, in which she will never be able to trust anyone again. How? After all, even the closest ones betray and deceive. One evening Dasha couldn't take her heavy thoughts out of her head. They had to be silenced urgently, and the girl decided. She called a taxi and went to the nightclub. It was Saturday. A lot of people were pushing at the dance floor and at the bar. The music was rumbling through which the woman barely broke through the crowd in laughter. Great. That's exactly what you need. The woman sat on a high bar stool, and suddenly she realized that for the first time in a long time, she had really relaxed. She never really liked such noisy places, but today she liked it here. A fan drew right away. Probably quickly selected a lonely and not very happy woman from the crowd. He introduced himself. His name immediately flew out of Dasha's head. She had no need for such details. The woman was not against the company. The more distracting factors, the better. The man was telling something. Dasha nodded her head, skipping all his words past her ears. Around the music was rumbling. Bright lights were flashing. Such an atmosphere was associated with Dasha with light. This is the element of her friend. Rather, the woman who Dasha once considered a friend. The man's hand generously poured Dasha expensive drinks. Tanya refused. She liked the taste of the drink and the relaxing effect that she had. The thoughts of the pregnant woman were gone for a while. The woman understood that they would come back. They would definitely come back. But now she had a little time to rest from them. The new acquaintance sat closer. So close that Dasha already felt his smell and warmth. He looked carefully and interested. He spoke quietly and intently. Dasha did not meddle. Suddenly, she started to feel dizzy. It seemed she drank a lot. It's time to get round. It's time to call a taxi. The man suddenly put his tight, sticky hand on her waist. The woman tried to move away, but a new acquaintance firmly pressed her to herself. It was too much. Dasha was angry. The man's eyes burst with anger. He clearly was counting on the continuation of the acquaintance. Dasha tried to free herself, but this man simply didn't let her go. On the contrary, he was holding his hands tighter and tighter and trying to lead her somewhere. Dasha became painful and really scary. There are so many people around, but no one pays attention to them. Let me go, you bastard! The woman screamed, stabbing her chest with her fists. Help me, someone. But everything is in vain. Loud music, flashing light. The common Goman's laugh. In this fuss and cacophony, it is difficult to notice that someone needs help very close. And Dasha, like on the evil, could not resist. Drinks gave about themselves to know. Where are you dragging me? Dasha turned to the man who pulled her to the exit. Dasha tried to break free again, but again with and then he gently raised his hand behind her back. The man clearly turned this trick for the first time. Dasha felt broken and defenseless. There was no more strength to resist. And suddenly, when it turned out that there was no salvation and there would be no more, they finally stepped up for her. Some tall man tried to stop them. The unpleasant guy did not take the blame, and then the defender, with a fist strike, threw him aside. The fight began. Dasha did not wait for her end. Taking advantage of the chance to escape, she slipped out of the club. Unfortunately, the taxi was not near. We need to call. Great, but we need to go away from this place. Suddenly, an annoying stranger will jump out for her, grab her again and drag her somewhere. And she will hardly be lucky again. The lights were beautiful. The streets were deserted, the silence and calmness. As if there was no such scary scene, which was played out just a few minutes ago. Dasha's heart was beating so fast. She still did not believe in her luck. Someone still stepped in for her, did not remain indifferent. A huge thank you to this person, whom she could not even look at as she should. The woman suddenly realized that she was crying. Tears flowed down her cheeks. Her cheeks burned, fell right on the ground. Her body was shaking in tears. Dasha didn't understand what caused such a violent reaction. Perhaps it was just the stress, or the whole situation as a whole. Why is she now walking barefoot on the streets at night? Why did she go to this club alone? Does she really need to be here now? After all, a few months ago, everything in her life was perfect. A beloved husband, a wonderful son, a cozy apartment, and an interesting job. And now she feels like a broken cart. She can't be as happy as before and rest. Today she tried to distract herself, and what came of it? She almost became a victim of some man. Maybe mom is right? Maybe still visit a psychologist? And suddenly Dasha heard the hasty steps. Someone was catching up with her. The woman turned around and saw a dark male silhouette at the end of the street. It's him, the same type from the club. He tracked her down and now catches up with her. Dasha let her down with all her might. The coordination was broken, but she drank too much. The body did not listen well, but the woman tried very hard to hide from the pursuer. He was trying to stop her, but she said he wouldn't hurt her. Yeah, he wouldn't. Why would he chase her at night? Dasha's leg turned, and the pain ran from her ankle to her thigh. The woman realized that she couldn't run or even walk. Dasha was helpless and went down to the bench. She was outside, and she was very lively during the day. It can save her now. There are cameras everywhere, she shouted to the approaching man. So think 100 times before coming to me. Finally caught up. The man came very close. It seems that it was not the type that tried to take her out of the club, but the doubts were still present. Dasha did not look too good at her unqualified kidnapper. All evening he was perceived as part of the surrounding environment. Although, what difference does it make? This man was running after her on the desert night streets. He was chasing her. It was strange and scary. No, what are you doing? The man finally realized that he had scared Dasha. I wanted to return this to you. You forgot. And he pulled Dasha's handbag, which she hastily left at the bar. It seems that it was exactly the man who stepped in for her. Thank you. The woman took the bag out of his hand and lowered her eyes. And this is you who saved me. Saved is too loud. The man smiled, sitting next to her. He just pushed him away and that's it. He accidentally noticed how he was approaching you. It was clear to the face that you needed help. What a luck that you were there. Luck. Luck is also because I don't usually go to places like that. I also recognize Dasha. It's noticeable. Something must have happened to you, and you decided to get distracted. Dasha silently nodded. And we celebrated one of our colleagues' birthday. He is years old, the youngest of us. And after a traditional feast in a cafe, he offered us to go to a club. And there you are. By the way, my name is Victor. And you? Dasha and Victor talked until morning. It turned out that he was an operative employee of the crime department who literally lives at work. Actually, that's why his wife left him. She couldn't accept the fact that her husband is always at the first place of work. But how else? Victor was confused. He had to go out to work at night, and to go on a business trip, and to be late. And she wanted more attention, which can also be understood. Dasha, not noticing it herself, posted a personal sad story to Victor. For the first time, she told this to someone in such detail. For the first time, she spoke her pain aloud. Honesty brought long-awaited relief. Why? Why did I suddenly feel so good now? She asked me, surprised, when she finished her story. It was already dawn. The streetlights were getting darker. The sky was getting a beautiful purple shade. I tried to keep everything in myself. It seemed to me that memories, especially those in words, would cause even more pain. The psychotherapeutic effect. Victor smiled at her. You know, I don't want to part with you at all. Me neither. These words broke out of Dasha's mouth before she had time to think. But why? Why did she say that? What if Victor now goes on the offensive like that guy from the bar and destroys all the magic of their communication? And what? She herself said that she didn't want to part with him. That is, she gave up the green light. But the man behaved in a completely different way. He just asked for her phone number and left his own. After that, he called a taxi for Dasha and kissed her hand goodbye. So gallantly, as if he was an heirloom prince. This kiss was warmly called in Dasha's heart. Already in the taxi, she suddenly realized that Victor managed to drive her thoughts away. For the first time, she had hope for something good. Although the inner voice advised the woman not to be too proud. Everyone betrays the scepter, even the closest ones. Wait to rejoice. And yet, in the morning, Dasha woke up with a completely different person. The woman cooked breakfast for herself for the first time in a long time. And after that she was engaged in repairs. She suddenly had many ideas about the design of the apartment. On the same day, I called Victor. The woman did not expect how much she would be pleased with this call. They agreed to meet in a couple of days. Victor said he would like to see her right now, but he has a shift. Dasha and Victor got very close very quickly. The woman liked everything about him. Courage and determination combined with care. The willingness to support and help. The sense of humor, attention to details. She was interested in listening to stories about his work. He must have carefully filtered information, something softened, something decorated, because the stories were exciting, but not too frightening. But Victor's work was quite dangerous. Dasha understood that. Victor began to help her with the repair. He also guessed that the woman was doing it now. He noticed that it smelled of paint and saw a spot of protein on her jeans. He had a lot of arguments. The work was moving fast. Dasha didn't even have to hire a team, as she originally planned. Victor said he would manage on his own. And he did manage. With Matvey, the man quickly found common ground. With an 8-year-old child, the man treated like an adult. It was very lousy for the boy. Victor even brought him to repair, which earned the ultimate arrangement of Matvey. Dasha realized that she fell in love with this reliable and strong man. She missed his jokes and smiles. She wanted to feel the scent of Victor all the time and his warm hands. The man surrounded her with care and love like a warm, cozy blanket. It was good and calm with him. Thoughts about betrayal of husband and girlfriend no longer brought such torments. Communicating with Victor became a healing balm for her emotional wounds. Dasha sometimes thought, what if she didn't go to the club then? Or Victor wouldn't be there at that time. They wouldn't have met, and there wouldn't be this deserved happiness. Dasha would still suffer because her ex-husband and girlfriend had arranged it. It's even scary to imagine. Victor had a spacious apartment in the city center. He insisted on moving to that place. The woman hesitated for a while. She was worried that so many changes at once was too much for her son. But in the end, Matvey asked his mother to take an important step. Just a few months after the meeting, Victor asked Dasha to become his wife. She gladly agreed. She no longer thought about life without Victor. Yes, the woman understood. That's a serious and responsible job. She takes a lot of time, attention, and effort. But this made Victor even more attractive in her eyes. The man saves lives, makes the world cleaner and fairer. Dasha accepted it. So they became a family with Victor. The news of this sincerely upset Andrei. Dasha talked to her ex-husband. They still have a child. Andrei periodically took Matvey for a walk, took him to hockey. You quickly found a replacement, and half a year has not passed since we divorced. And you have found a new woman for yourself before? So you got me into this. Dasha knew that Andrei and Sveta lived together now. The ex-wife sold the apartment and shared the money. Andrei bought a new 3-room apartment, where he brought Sveta. Apparently, the relationship between lovers was going through a crisis. Andrei didn't look happy at all, and Sveta also had sad statuses in social networks. Knowing the adventurous nature of her friend, Dasha assumed that she was bored. The light was not right. And Andrei, well, he got what he deserved. The wedding was not crowded, but very cheerful and some kind of warm, or what? It went without limos, expensive outfits, and luxurious interiors. But right after the event, Victor and Dasha flew to Thailand and spent there just a fabulous week. When she came back, she found out that Sveta and Andrei got married too. Photos from the ex-girlfriend's page and unquestioning signatures to them were evidence of this. Dasha suspected that Andrei pushed them to a serious step with Victor's wedding. Well, it's a love advice. The woman felt happy and wanted the same for everyone else. Sveta couldn't understand her feelings. It seemed she has achieved what she wanted. Andrei even made a proposal to her. They have a beautiful big apartment. The rival is defeated. Why is there no feeling of happiness and triumph? Why does it seem that Dasha has won again? Maybe the thing is that the friends suffered for a short time? It's not been half a year since they divorced. She is happy again. She was lucky again. A new man met her. And what else? Beautiful, stately, of course, wealthy. Sveta once saw them by chance in the mall. She walked behind them on purpose, watching. They walk around, smile, make plans. They are joyful. He looks at her with his eyes in love and devotion. He hugs her on the shoulders and shines all over. Andre. Andre has become someone else. Or maybe he has always been like that. Sveta just came up with an ideal image for herself. Boring, annoying, indecisive. She advises Sveta about every step she takes. She wanted to see a strong, independent man instead of a weak, needy nanny. Dasha should thank her for getting rid of her extra ballast. And yet Sveta agreed to Andrei's offer. They signed a contract on a weekday. Without Tom ads, guests, balls, flowers, and other such attributes. Once Sveta dreamed of a coat, a white, beautiful dress, and a limousine with rings on the roof. But this is in the past. And if I'm honest, they don't have that kind of money now. Andrei's business has been going well lately. And here, you also need to pay for the food every month. In general, they didn't do much, of course, but they couldn't afford to do anything extra. The sooner Sveta found out that Dasha was having a vacation in Thailand with her new husband. One of their friends reported about it to her when they met by chance. She also showed her a photo. Dasha sent her a couple of pictures from the resort. She posed in a snow-white bathrobe, the color of which was positively emphasized by the bronze sun. The figure, of course, is Dasha's look. Her legs are long. She can't even say that she has such a big son. And Sveta sits on diets from school, goes to the gym. What's the point? Anyway, her sides are hanging and she's giving in to her hips. What would happen to her if she didn't watch over herself? I don't even want to think about it. Most likely, she would look like her mother, a sad, unkempt woman with an always unhappy look. From birth. I wish I could have a daughter, thought Sveta. I would make her a queen if I couldn't do it myself. I know what girls want in childhood, and how to behave with a daughter to become an adult and she conquer the world. The woman was surprised by her thought. Is she seriously dreaming of this child? Sveta grew up in a large family. From an early age, she had to look after the younger. Because her mother was never at home, she thought that she had been thinking about her whole life. She didn't think about becoming a mother for many years. At her young age, Sveta had a few times of pregnancy. She didn't need to have a little backbite. And now these thoughts. The discovery made Sveta shiver. She looked at herself in the mirror. When did she change that much? Both outside and inside. In the evening, Sveta told Andrei about her wish. He took it with the same heart. He didn't object, but he didn't show any enthusiasm. Of course, he already has a son. Almost every weekend Andrei takes Matvey to the water park, to the racetrack, and so on. However, he never takes her home. Apparently, Dasha forbade it. But we can understand her. Sveta would have done the same if she had a child. A child. At first Sveta thought that she should just wish, and now she's a happy mother. But in fact, it's not that simple. The cherished pregnancy didn't come. Month after month passed, and the desire to become a mother, meanwhile, grew. Everything was strong. They did an examination with Andrei. They didn't show any serious violations. So, some natural, age-oriented, non-critical. You've been dragged, said the doctor once. Now, of course, it's fashionable to give birth to the first child late. And before that, they called year-old old-timers. And that's right, in my opinion, everything has its time. And we will be making an echo about you, if nothing works out in 3 months. For now, drink vitamins, have rest, try to avoid stress. Avoid stress? It's easy to say. How to avoid them if the husband complains every night that his business will go down? And she doesn't have much work to do. The salary is getting smaller and smaller every month. The owner says that these are temporary difficulties. But the most important stress is the stable negative pregnancy tests. Every time, seeing one strip instead of the desired two, Sveta felt broken and empty. She even thought that it was a punishment for her for once refusing to become a mother. Then, in her youth, Sveta would never have believed that she would dream so much about a baby. One morning, Sveta, as usual, suddenly jumped on the alarm clock and could not get up from the bed. Her head was spinning and she was feeling nauseous. The signal of the alarm clock. Do you feel bad? Yes, it's strange. Somehow it makes me sick. Maybe we finally did it. The man got up. He carefully looked at his wife. Dashka also had a start from the nausea, and it seems you have improved a little. Thank you for the compliment. The light was darkly paraded. Not only did Tolstoy call her, he also remembered Dashka again. In his speech, often slipped Dasha that, Dasha everything, but never it did not anger Sveta as now. Make a test, we still have left, like, offered Andrei. Sveta thought it was useless. Hope is almost no longer remained. The woman morally prepared for a difficult procedure of echo. Soon Andrei heard from the bathroom, either crying or the laughter of the wife. In the first moment, even regretted that advised her to do the test. Probably negative again. So hysterical. But by the shining face, who entered the bedroom of light, he realized that he would soon be a father twice. Maybe Sveta will get better? Lately, she is too annoying, ploxy, sad. Everything is wrong with her. Every little thing is being criticized, claims are being made. There is no shadow of the former cheerful, sharp tongue and not sad woman left in her, which once attracted Andrei. She used to be a holiday for people. Maybe she's still lost. Andrei often regretted that he destroyed his strong family. Dasha. It seems he still loved her. It was unbearable to see his ex-wife next to Victor. She's happy with him. And Victor will hardly be as stupid as Andrei. He won't let Dasha go. How confusing. Dasha has a new family, and he lives with Sveta. They say that you can't build your own happiness on someone else's misfortune. Andrei doesn't get along with his new wife. She pushes him away with his appearance, manner of keeping himself, and even his voice. And he often annoys her. Andrei is not a fool. He sees it very well. Maybe the child will fix everything. Andrei remembered those days when he had just become a father. They learned to be parents from Dasha. It was so new, so interesting, so great. The man then felt full of energy and strength. There were always some plans related to his son in his head. He felt pride when he went out in a wheelchair. And now Matvey was the closest and most dear person to him. And soon his son will have a brother or sister. Andrei didn't care about the baby, but Sveta was looking for a daughter. It seemed she planned to make her a queen and give her everything she didn't get in childhood. Dasha didn't believe her eyes when she saw the test with two bright stripes. Of course, they planned a child with Victor, but a little later. The woman was afraid. She gave birth to her first child when she was very young, and now she's well over. How will pregnancy go? Will she cope with the child? It will probably be harder, and the knowledge is now much more in her head, and this creates new fears. Dasha, bearing up Matvea, did not think about anything bad, enjoyed pregnancy, lived in sweet anticipation and meeting her son. Apparently, they say, not in vain, grief from the mind. Victor's news made the happiest person on earth, according to his own assurance. Dasha was sincerely happy to see her husband with shining eyes. We need to finish the renovation in a free bedroom, he said. Our daughter needs a princess room. Daughter? What if it's a boy? Well, then we will make a prince's room. But I'm sure we have a daughter. Dasha thought differently. She had a feeling of being exactly like a son in pregnancy. But Victor was right. You have a healthy girl, said the Uzi lying on Dasha's couch. She was smiling happily, her husband guessed. It's a pity that he's not around now, because the doctor showed their child. On the screen, the cuckoo nose and profile were clearly visible. Dasha almost cried out of amazement. Victor was supposed to go to the Uzi with her today, but he was urgently called to work. This happened often. Irreplaceable employee. But it's okay, she will call him as soon as she leaves the office. But she couldn't make a call right away, because she saw in turn, no, not this one. Sveta. The girls met with their eyes. Sveta got up from her chair and approached her ex-wife Andre. Dasha noticed the woman's rounded belly. So they will have a child soon too. I wonder why Andre didn't tell her about it. They often talked. He regularly took his son for a walk. Congratulations, Dasha said, pointing at the belly with her eyes. Similarly, she smiled, glancing at her friend's belly. I understand that it's not very appropriate, but I'm sorry for all this, for everything I've done. When Sveta realized that her child was coming, she first walked around happily for a few weeks, without noticing anyone. She knew that she was carrying a girl in her heart, and her daughter would be the happiest and most beautiful, just like Dasha, who Sveta envied all her life. By the way, now envy has gone somewhere. Sveta was even surprised herself, how she got used to this heavy feeling of the years of life. And now he was gone. Sveta wanted to call her friends, talk to her, ask for forgiveness, but she didn't dare. And then this random meeting in the clinic. Dasha is also pregnant. Sveta knew about it, Andre told her. What a luck. And the woman rushed to meet her friend. She needs to tell Dasha a lot. In time, both girlfriends gave birth to girls. In one day, ironically, they were neighbors in the room. The woman had a lot of time to talk about everything. Dasha helped Sveta a lot as a more experienced mother. Our babies will be friends. Sveta smiled dreamily, looking at the tiny, tightly filed girls. They are almost sisters. At least they have a brother. Yes, they will be interested in the place. Both girls, age 1, agreed with Dasha, and she thought about herself. The main thing is that their friendship does not remind our